Live from the Talking Joe studios,
it's Talking Joe with Chief and Chris. Hey, get me the hell out of here. It's me, Chiefy Two Shivers, on this special Halloween edition of Talking Joe. I'm joined by my buddy...
Diagnostic to the hearty.
Yeah, work required there.
Well, it's like I'm like I've got no Halloween puns for either of any of my names. So, for all the listeners listening, send them in of your best Christopher McLeod or Diagnostic 80 puns with Halloween influence, because my God, we just spent about 10 minutes trying to come up with one, and all I could come up with was Diagnostic to the hearty, which is actually, when I say it like that, is actually quite funny.
Yes. Anyway, how have you been, sir?
Well, other than just really scared because it's the Halloween episode.
Yes.
I don't know really. Yeah, everything's been cool. We only spoke a few hours ago, so it seems weird to be kind of saying how are you. I'm still very busy. Finished a ton of work recently, so that was nice. And again, what is even nicer as a freelancer is that work keeps coming in even after you've kind of got over the hump of a big load of work, for more of it to be filling in. So that's happening as well. So yeah, very happy with that. I just had CoilCon that just happened this weekend. Filmed a ton of panels from CoilCon. That was loads of fun. Got to hang out with loads of friends again. It was a blast. Unfortunately, Kate couldn't come because we had a bit of an issue with Max in the morning. The morning of that we were going to be going, he kind of had a rough night and then a rough morning. So Kate wanted to stay with him, make sure he was okay. Lo and behold, he was fine. It was just, he was just having a funny morning. And Kate kind of regretted not coming, but we're going out to Assembly Required in a couple of weeks' time in Iowa, which is going to be an amazing show. I've been sharing loads of the Night Force posters that they've got coming up, and that's kind of like Night Force, so that's also very Halloween-esque for this Halloween theme episode. So check out the Full Force Facebook page to see those amazing posters that have been going up over the last week.
Yeah, defo, do it. Yeah, good
How
stuff.
How are you?
I am feeling particularly spooky, and I've been doing some of this. I'm retro gaming, that's what I'm playing. So don't be shaming, because then you'll be failing. Nintendo power, not in the shower. Sega for the ages, ghouls and ghost rages. Atari Jaguar, how did it get that far? Sony PlayStations gave me sensations, and now I have to go and do some retro gaming. I said retro gaming, and I'm out.
Retro gaming.
Get your lug holes around that.
Retro gaming, got it.
Yeah. Road Rash 2 I'm on now. What do you think of that sound? So that's the soundtrack, and I'm actually going to play. I quite like this one. Let me select track. I quite like the Alaska track soundtrack. Here we go.
Banger.
Yeah, boy.
Gets the juices flowing, doesn't it?
The problem I got is I've traded my bike in. I did. Jesus, that guy was after me there. I traded my bike in from the standard bike to the Panda 600 in the Superbike range.
Classic.
Now you've got three options when you go to the bike shop. You can go to the ultralight, or you can go Superbike, or you can go nitro bikes. I don't have enough. Get out of the way! I don't have enough money for nitro bikes at the moment, so I went for the Panda 600. It's no good. It's moderately faster than your start bike, but it's really heavy.
Yeah, so it's hard to kind of manoeuvre.
Whoa, I'm in 7th place here, and Lawson, he's done me. Look, he kicked me off, and now I'm riding down the road and someone's just run me over.
Bloody Lawson.
Oh my God, right, I'm going to cue that rubbish. But what I'm finding is, level 1 was okay, did the 5 tracks, you have to come top 3, and then going on to level 2, that's where you have to upgrade your bike because your initial one's not fast enough. Now, 2 things to point out. My plug-and-play Sega Mega Drive arrived with the 40 games on. Road Rash 2 is one of the games.
Brilliant.
Plugged it into the TV downstairs. It runs really smoothly. However, something wasn't quite right, and I thought it's a little bit pixelated, especially with stuff on the horizon. And so then I've come up into the loft today, and I've plugged in my Road Rash 2 cartridge on my actual Mega Drive, and it looks markedly better. on this than it does on the emulator. So
Yeah.
some other games that I've had quickly fired up look fine, and I think they'll be good. But for this particular game, because if you're familiar with Road Rash, it's kind of blind corners and blind hills, so you never know what cars are going to be coming towards you on the same side of the road as you. Like, jeepers, there's one there.
Like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, and when you can't get a real good view of it, then it's almost impossible. So I'm going to revert to playing that up here. But really, really enjoying it so far. I'm much more of an arcade racer than I am a simulation style. I don't like really Gran Turismo or Forza, anything like that. So I'm much more an arcade boy.
Yeah.
And I have been taken away from the retro gaming a little bit because I'm going to turn it off before I get too much distracted. Before I said I turned it off, and then as I was speaking to you, I turned it back on. Now I'm actually turning it off. I purchased on PlayStation Plus The Last of Us Remastered Edition. Now, I had The Last of Us on PlayStation 3. This is kind of a set in the future. It's not really post-apocalyptic. It's kind of a plague / zombies are running around, and then after the intro, you cuts to like 30 years later, and the main character is tasked with taking this girl who might be have a plague cure in her blood across the country, and it was so good. Then they released it on PS4 a couple of years ago as a remastered, and I've only now just picked it up on the PS4 as a remastered, and it could be in the top 5 games of all time for me.
Yeah, a lot of people
good.
go on about that, don't they? It's
so good. And obviously, number 2 is coming up soon, I think, in the next couple of months. So I'm playing this, and this is actually taken away from my retro gaming, but that's fine because I'm still getting the retro in, and this is such a good game anyway. What about you? Have you done any retro gaming this week?
Do you know what? I was going to get straight back into Contra and complete that first level, and I just haven't had the time. I haven't had the time since we last spoke. Was the last time I played the game. And I was like, right, I'm going to jump on, get that first level completed, and then never play that game ever. Not even play the second level, just turn it off.
Chuck it out the window.
Yeah, just burn it. But haven't had the chance to play it. Obviously, over the weekend, went to CoilCon, and it's just been, that just literally piled up the work I needed to finish. Then when I got on Sunday night, I got home at about 10:30ish, 10 o'clock. Got in, kind of, unwound a little bit, but then had to get straight onto work because I had something that needs to be done that evening. So I was up till about 1 doing video stuff, and so it's been, so no, basically. The short answer to that is no.
That's right. All right, we'll try and rectify that next week. We do need to, before we do anything further, is see if either of us have got any beverages.
Beverage for the show, do-do-do-do-do-do. Beverage for the show, do-do-do-do-do-do. Now I am gonna go, do-do, and drink my beverage for the show.
Ooh.
I do. Do you?
I do. Thankfully, my wife has come through twice now. I mean, we recorded yesterday an interview with Andrew Wildman, which will be out at some point in the next 700 years, based on all the work I've got to do. So I had to have a drink for that. Kate, thankfully, she bought me something on Sunday, which was really nice. It turned out to be really nice, and I won't say what it is because I want to keep that quiet, and because it's obviously quite funny as well. But we'll keep that quiet until when that episode comes out. But today she also, I messaged her and said like, I don't have a drink, and he wants to record it early, so it means that I'm not going to be able to get a drink in time. And and she said, 1, don't call me a and 2, I've got another drink for you in the fridge if you have a look. It's and I'll read it out here. It's a caffeine free caffeine. It's a caffeine sounds like a planet in Star Wars, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's in the caffeine cluster. But anyway, caffeine-free Zevia organic tea, sweetened hibiscus tea, passion fruit naturally flavoured, no sugar, 0 calories. It's funny, when you read this stuff out on a drink, it doesn't make grammatical sense, does it? Or it doesn't make... Like, they always try and make it so that it's like, this word's really big, so you see it's tea, and this is the flavour, but then we'll put underneath what that means, and it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, let's try this. Non-GMO project verified, USDA organic, fair trade certified, 12 fluid ounces, 355 millilitres. Here we go. It's in a metal thin can. One of my favourite, the tall thin can jobs.
Yeah. I know you're a big fan of them.
I'm not a big fan of them.
Okay.
I am. Here we go.
Oh, slurpage.
Oh, that's not bad. That's interesting. Well, actually, yeah, that's. I figured it was going to have a horrible aftertaste, but the aftertaste is even more sweet passion fruit. Believe that, if you can believe it.
Do believe it.
Oh, that's nice. It's like it wants to be one thing and then changes its mind halfway through. It's weird and beautiful. I love it.
Good.
Next,
we've had a good strike right here. What's your what are you giving it? A rating? I think we said last week we're going to start rating them out of 10.
Okay. I'll give this. I didn't rate yesterday's, but I'm going to rate this one at a low 8.
A low 8. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Well,
really
we don't know
nice.
if that's good because there's no benchmark yet. That's the bench. You set the benchmark, man. Well done. I have got.
Who's Ben Schmark? Was that Ben that used to be on the show?
No. Why? Where's that come from?
Benchmark.
Oh, benchmark.
There you
I
go.
See what you've done. I see what you've done. Yeah.
Who's
Yeah,
Ben
very clever.
Schwarmer? Carry on.
Yeah. Boss Black. This is a seriously silky stout. It's a bottle of stout
Made of silk.
beer. Yeah. So I joined Beer 52 Club, which is, as I mentioned on the Wildman interview, but this will probably see
It's a DC
the light
Comics.
of day before that.
It's a DC Comics event, isn't it?
It only lasted one issue. Yeah, no, basically it's a beer club. You send off money, you get 24 quid a month, you get 8 beers back, and they're all different, all like craft IPAs and stuff like that. But I only did it once to get the free trial box, paid £4.95 shipping, and then I cancelled the order. One of them
Absolute
cheapskates. Anyway,
Absolute
so I've got 8 ones.
scumbag.
So here I've got, and it's actually Halloween themed because on the front it's got a picture of a dog who looks a bit like a werewolf.
Ah.
He's in black. It's all a purple background. There's some bats flying around in the background. Boss Black. And this is aroma: roasted coffee, warmed dark chocolate, flavour: black treacle, nuts toasted on the fire, toffee, dark chocolate ganache. Perfect with dark chocolate, strong Stilton or roast beef. Our rich, complex stout
Or all of those at the same time.
binds together a velvety, silky mouthfeel, smoky, enticing roasted coffee and vanilla aromas, seductive dark chocolate ganache, toasted nuts, and black treacle flavours. Let's stop babbling on and let's go for
Get
it.
those toasted nuts in your mouth.
Smells quite stouty. I'm not a massive beer drinker, but I'll do anything that's cheap or free. So that is yeah. I don't know what to expect there. 5%. It's let's have another go.
I thought you were giving it a percentage, like it was like computer and video games or something.
5% volume alcohol. It's I'm probably not going to buy it again.
Can we talk about computer and video games for a second, by the way? The magazine.
Oh my, CMVG.
Yeah,
amazing.
did you used to get that?
I used to get it, and then I got the spin-off Mean Machines.
Oh, Mean Machines was so good.
Which I've actually got the full 24 issues downstairs.
I wanted to start my own computer game magazine, and I copied the Mean Machine layout and had, funny enough, Contra was the front cover. So I drew it like with a pencil, and it was probably awful. I haven't seen it for like 20 odd years now, or longer than that. But yeah, how good were those magazines, man? Like I would pore over them for
Mean
days.
Machines was Ben used to get them as well, and his brother Gav, and we chat about it quite regularly. In that all the magazines at the time, especially like the Atari ST and the Amiga and the Commodore magazines and Spectrum, all that kind of stuff, they were very
text heavy,
kind of stiff.
Yeah,
they kind of like
boring.
People in suits and ties had done them, and they were very formulaic.
It was all like it was literally like coding you were looking at.
Mean Machines came along. Holy ball sacks! No one knew what the hell was going on. These articles were just all over the shop. One review to another would just have a different format. It was just crazy. Just
screenshot-tastic as well.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, big time.
I'm giving this Boss Black 5 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mid-range.
So off the back of a mid-range beer, we can only do one thing, and that's go inside the spooky mind of Chief.
Inside Chief's spooky mind would have made more sense, though, wouldn't it?
I tell you what. I'll do it again.
No, it's funnier. It's funnier that happened.
It's funnier that I did a version of what I should have done. Yes, I agree. So I tell you what annoys me is people who.
That's it. Undead people.
There was a spate of this last year in the UK. People dressing up as clowns on Halloween and going around scaring people.
That was annoying, wasn't it?
Like proper dressed up as scary clowns and literally frightening pensioners and little kids and just causing menace, going into shops and not necessarily harassing people.
Well, effectively illegally harassing people. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of standing in the middle of the shop, just looking menacing. Although, having said that, and some of them were carrying weapons as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't remember if some of them did perpetrate crimes.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Scumbags. And, so I haven't heard too many accounts of that happening this year. I don't know if there's a police crackdown. There's a special police squad, the anti-clown squad.
Batman. Batman's out there now.
I love Batman 66. But anyway, that's what is annoying me. People dressing up as clowns, scaring innocent folk.
Yeah, I'm in. Good work.
That's all I got.
Good work.
I want to talk about G.I. Joe comics.
Comic talk, oh, comic talk. Larry Hama writes them, Chief and Chris discuss them, whoa. Comic talk, oh, comic talk. Larry Hama writes them, Chief and Chris discuss them, whoa.
Oh, I tell you what, there's a goddamn clown in G.I. Joe comics. Fortunately, not the ones we're reading this week, but in the past, that guy's annoying.
Well, he is annoying.
Get the anti-clown police on that guy.
What a joker he is, eh? Yeah?
Joker. Yeah,
Get it?
good one. Anyway, it's time to talk comics. This week, we will be discussing issues 139 through 142 of G.I. Joe starring Snake Eyes and Transformers Generation 2.
Transformers Generation 2, coming soon from Marvel Comics.
I know they've really gone all out with the title now, haven't they?
Yeah. Let us first look at the covers.
I love that first one.
139, Megatron, close-up in his new guise, hand outstretched, Cobra Commander perched on his hand. I think this is Chris Batista on cover, who is also doing the interiors.
Oh, God, the interiors are beautiful as well.
Yeah. That's a good cover. I like that a lot.
The only thing I will say, and this might be one of those things where when you see it, you can't unsee it, but Megatron's head, his face, doesn't look centered in his head. Does that make sense to you?
Face doesn't look centered. You think it's to the left?
Yeah, it looks like his face is too far to the left and his head is too far to... Like the top right part of his head goes too far out. Because I think it's mainly because the left-hand side you can't see.
Or it's that line down the front of his head above his nose is not in line with his nose. It's to the right a little bit.
Possibly.
Or I don't know.
It just doesn't... To me, like, something is happening in my head that doesn't quite compute. And but again, taking it for what it is, it looks beautiful, and Cobra Commander looks fantastic in that shot. And that hand, Megatron's hand, is really well done, like beautiful detail. It looks really cool. So yeah, I'm down for it. It's good. It's amazing.
And then 140. This is again Megatron and Cobra Commander. A bit more dynamic pose. Megatron in the background, flying in his robot mode.
I like this too.
Cobra Commander pointing. Another good cover.
Yeah, big time.
Another great cover. That's Chris Batista again.
Killing it.
141. Things take a little bit of a downturn here.
Yeah, this is a bit poor in my opinion.
This is Will Rosado and Chip Wallace on the cover here, and Will Rosado does interiors along with Steve Lieber. And when we talk about the issues, I mean, these two guys, if you see some of their later stuff, Steve Lieber's killing it right now anyway on regular stuff, and Will Rosado, who didn't do too much. I think he did some Green Lantern Green Arrow when it was Oliver Queen's son, Connor Hawke, as the Green Arrow when Ollie was presumed dead, and then he did some Batman stuff and he actually did some G.I. Joe stuff, I think, Will Rosado, on some IDW.
Yeah,
and that stuff is amazing. And when you see the interiors here, you're like, that cannot be the same people. But maybe they were just youngsters starting their career.
I mean, we will get to it, but to me, it just feels rushed, and it feels like they got whoever could do the job to rush it themselves as well. Yeah. But we'll get to that in a second, yeah.
And, so just for people who don't have it to hand in front of them, Snake Eyes in the front doing the Arashikage mindset thing with his hands.
You can see one of his eyes as well.
There's a guy behind him who, at the time, I didn't know who that was. You find out it's a Night Creeper leader, but there's no indication of who he was prior to that cover. And then in the background, you've got Dr. Bigglesworth, or Dr. Bigglesjones, as she's called in this comic, and looks like Megatron's attacking her. But yeah, not over fussed with that cover. And then the last one is 142. And
this is almost good, and then you look at the details of the human characters, and it kind of really takes it away. Because Megatron is actually quite a fun cover with his, his foot up about to crush Scarlet.
Look how bad Scarlet's drawn.
It's good perspective. But then you look at the human characters. You look at Scarlet. Cobra Commander looks like he's having a off panel, doesn't it?
Zartan looks. I don't know what's going on there, but that's Will Rosado again. But this time, I think it is Tim Tooley is inking him possibly, but. And look at your man. Who's that Autobot peeking around the corner? Ooh, what do I see?
Is it Chase? No, it's not Chase, is it?
No,
It's
some sort of aerial bot.
one of the aerial bots, but I can't think who. Tell us in the comments. Well, we know you will.
Yeah. And so on interiors here, we have got for 139 and 140. Obviously, we've got Larry Harmer scripting. We've got Chris Batista's doing 139 and 40 for pencils. A host of inkers here. Steve Baskerville, Williams, Hudson and Wallace, 4 inkers. Rick Parker's on letters, and Bob Shireen and Witterstatter are on colours. And then when we move to issue 140, we have... Oh, yes, same crew for 140, I think. And then 141, this is where we get the different pencilers. We get Steve Lieber and Will Rosado on pencils, Bob Shireen on colours, Scott Malta, Chip Wallace on inks, and then another different crew on 142. This is Jesse Orozco and William Rosado on pencils, Chip Wallace and Tim Tooley on inks, and then a host of different letterers and colourers. So
it's
a real mixed bag
and
here.
Lots of people thrown in at the mix as well at the end,
Yeah.
which is really weird. Like when I was looking at that, thinking, how is Chief going to like organise this? Because, and I can see what you've done. You've just gone and a whole host of other because it's like it's just like a mess of names and then a nondescript designation to the right hand side that you can't really tell who's doing what.
Yeah, and we'd had kind of 10 issues of Andrew Wildman doing good work, and there was no real lead in to say we're going to have a new artist next month. And if you listen to the interview we do with Andrew, we'll actually find out why he was no longer the artist on the book, and it was actually his choice to come off as the artist, and he kind of explains a little bit in detail why that was. And so that bodes to your point of they were in a bit of a pickle maybe, and they were like, right, we got this 4-issue arc, we don't have that much lead time maybe, so they got a whole host of guys on to do it. And I'll tell you now, I actually really like this 4-issue arc, even in spite of the potentially not great art towards the end of it. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, same.
More so than the last few arcs, I think.
So did you ever read, or did you and Ben cover the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover that Marvel did early on?
We did not. So that's a potential when we come to the end of this run. I think we'll have covered the yearbooks, the Real American Hero, the special missions, but there might be a bit of leeway for us to cover the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover, maybe even the 4-issue
it'll be
Order of Battle.
Yeah, it'd be like a 1-episode job, I think, to do that. But
I think there's enough. All the outstanding Marvel comics we didn't cover.
Yeah. So I wasn't aware. I thought that was out of continuity originally. I thought that was the original plan, to have Transformers and G.I. Joe not necessarily within continuity, the first arc.
Yeah.
But that...
I'm interrupting you. I forgot, down by my feet, I had a drink because it's Halloween. I bought some Halloween snacks as well. I've got, and I'm just going to go in with them now. I've got a box of Mr. Kipling 6 terrifying toffee whirls. These are light shortcake swirl filled with toffee flavour, buttercream and toffee sauce.
Sounds yummy.
Very, very crumbly pastry. I'm not getting much toffee in this, and it's not that terrifying. Also, I've got a Cadbury's. It's not a Cadbury's cream egg; it's a Cadbury's goo egg.
Oh, gross!
So, do you get Cadbury's cream eggs in the States?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's crack this open.
And if you in one of them, then you get a goo egg.
Oh, right, yeah, wicked. And a prize or not?
Oh, there wouldn't be no prize. That's the terrible prize.
Very weighty, a Cadbury's cream egg. It's got a lot of weight to it.
Yeah.
I reckon that's...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 40 grams. About what I suspected. Let's have a go. I'll take a pic. I'll tell you what I'll do. Where's my phone? I'll take a picture of it half unwrapped, along with my Boss Black thing. Right, okay, let's have a go. Let's take a bite. Yeah, it's just white inside.
Ooh.
It's just white inside, and it's horrifically sweet.
I'd have done it green, personally.
Yeah, me too. You missed a trick there, Cadbury's, you chumps.
Wow.
Right, as you were saying, I don't even remember what you were saying.
I was saying that with the Transformers G.I. Joe issues, the 1 to 4 of the crossover, I thought that the initial thing was to have it like almost like a separate continuity, and then what they did later on with this issue, with this kind of part where they cross over the Transformers, is they allude to it and they kind of hark back to it, so that the reason why Cobra Commander isn't surprised is because he's seen it before. Same with the G.I. Joe guys. That at one point you're even said in the Transformers crossover issue. So
yes, so I picked up on that. Is exactly so. I hadn't read that crossover.
I want to say that it's been retconned, as in it's been kind of retconned into continuity, basically.
Right.
I could be wrong, but I was under the impression that it wasn't in continuity when it first came out.
Right. Well, one of the notes I've written here before I got to the bit where they reference that miniseries, which I think was probably in the third or fourth part of this arc.
Yeah.
After reading the first two issues, I've written, are the Transformers a known entity to Cobra and G.I. Joe? Because there had been no reference to them throughout the whole of Real American Hero. Yeah. And like you, I was like, why is the Cobra Commander not himself? Or why is no one surprised? Why are the Joes not surprised? How do the Joes know who these Transformers are? Why is no one losing their over all this?
Yeah.
And then, obviously, like you mentioned, it references that miniseries from the 1984 or 85, whenever it was. So that kind of suggested it was in continuity, but maybe it wasn't originally. And just to break it down a little bit, what's happening across this arc, we saw at the end of the last issue, Megatron had thought that the Silent Castle was a transforming Transformer, and he had come and confronted Cobra Commander. Now, throughout the course of this arc, they kind of struck a deal. Dr. Bigglesworth-Jones has got this railgun, and they're willing to trade it for all the secrets of the Ark, the Cybertronian spaceship that the Autobots came to Earth in all those millions of years ago. And there's that power struggle between Cobra Commander and Megatron about all that. Meanwhile, Scarlet is still on the scene. She's been stabbed by Snake Eyes previously. Is she a turncoat double agent or not? The involvement in the Joes is they're going into Millville, which we haven't seen for a long time, and then the Ninja Force are kind of going in to extract Scarlet, and there's lots of stuff going on around that. Mindbender shows up as well, but we'll talk about that as we discuss it. But that's the kind of main summary of what's happening across these issues.
Going back to what we were talking about with the JoJo Transformers crossover originally, just to give you some idea of what I was getting at, basically it says that it was entirely ignored in the pages of the G.I. Joe comic at the time, such that it was not even mentioned in either the Yearbook 3, which covered the events of the 1986 series, or Yearbook 4, which recounted the issues from 87. A couple of months after the limited series concluded, G.I. Joe Special Missions 5 by regular series author Larry Hama established the Transformers as a toy line within the G.I. Joe universe, when one of the guys, I think, gives one of the Joes, or I think one of the pilots, a Megatron toy. Even though he doesn't call it Megatron, he calls it something else. Yeah, it's Megatron visually, and he calls it Jetfire. So Transformers as a toy line is in the G.I. Joe universe. So that, having said that, it would scream to me that the original Transformers G.I. Joe crossover was definitely not part of the continuity for G.I. Joe. It was, however, part of the Transformers continuity, G1 continuity at the time. But for us, Larry's basically retconned it back in, if that makes sense. So very convoluted, very confusing, but that is why you've got these guys completely knowing who these things are,
Yep.
In fact, one thing that pops up is when spoiler alert, further down the line in this story, Mindbender comes back to life, right? Because for obvious reasons, and you can go through the overview in a second of how he comes back. But he comes back, and the moment he looks up and sees Megatron, he refers to him as, what's this Decepticon doing here? Because I've obviously seen the Decepticon badge. So at that moment, you're like, oh, so there's definitely previous knowledge, or that is just a complete error in judgment.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind any of that. I don't mind it being part of continuity.
I don't. I'm happy for them to be, in the same universe.
Yeah, I've written down a few likes from this arc. The first one I've got down is Chris Batista plus splash pages. So, like we said, this is really nice art. And that first splash page in issue 139, Cobra Commander, Zarana, and Bigglesworth running from an explosion is quality.
Zarana's pose. I love Zarana's pose in that, with a hand kind of out. And really
fantastic.
Cool.
The next double page spread of Megatron attacking the castle
detailed.
And being attacked back is great. And then even the next page where
the Mediviper looks great.
The Mediviper's quality and slice looks good.
Scarlet with the blood underneath. I like how they've used black on her, black for the blood on her costume, and then it's kind of like a reflective, almost like mirror-like effect on the floor of the blood, rather than it just being red everywhere. I think that's quite effective.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the art here is top notch.
It's gorgeous.
I'm trying to think what else Chris Batista did. I think he did some Spider-Man 2099, but I'm not sure what else. But I'm gonna.
It's coloured really well as well. I think
some Legion for DC, but yeah, it's coloured really well. Yeah, it's great.
Because you got Cobra Commander in his dark uniform. I love how he's used the blue to kind of really accentuate the lines on that as well. It's really beautiful. And then we also get, as well as a first appearance, I think, is that a first appearance of a Mediviper?
Yes. Yep.
So first appearance of a Mediviper, which didn't actually come out in toy form until the 2000s, like 2003 or 2005 or something like that.
All right. So let's just recap. Then this is August through August through November 1993.
Yeah, so obviously no toy for the Mediviper, but still I think you would want one at the time. I mean, it's a cool design, very, very cool. Yep. And we also get a character called Scalpel from the Mediviper crew, who's like the head of the Cobra medical team kind of thing, and he's really cool too. Anyway, that's just a Mediviper. And as we scroll through the story, as Megatron is attacking the castle, Biggles Jones jumps in a HISS tank and tries to use a railgun on him. He identifies, this is cool technology, and he wants it, so he decides...
At one point, he says this is alien technology. Does he?
Well, only because it doesn't... This is the first time it's been developed on Earth, so it's like, it's new, I suppose. So therefore, it can't be from this Earth. So therefore, he probably thinks it's alien technology.
Okay, all right.
The other thing is obviously as we go through the pages and Cobra Commander is like talking to Megatron, he's backed up by the new versions, and therefore we need a fashion jingle in here, don't we?
We do. It's G.I. Joe fashion. Armani, Prada, Versace too. Joe's changed their outfits from black to blue. Duke and Hawk, look but don't gawk. Changing their kit. Whoa, is that legit? Swapping camo jackets, headgear and boots. It's now neon colours and funky spacesuits. Sci-fi Stalker and even Roadblocks, while Bill, Flint and Mutt gave me a shot. So go take a walk if clothes aren't your passion, because it's comic book talk and lovely G.I. Joe fashion.
The Alley Viper version 2, which looks amazing in black and yellow. I think it looks so awesome.
I wasn't sure, because again, I don't know much about the toys. I wasn't sure if this was just a colouring mistake and he coloured them yellow instead of orange, or whether this was an actual upgrade.
Completely new design. The helmets have got this like fang kind of thing on them, so they fold up, so you can reveal the yellow face mask, and then you can drop it down and have the kind of protective face covering in black. They've got the incredible new Cobra logo shields as well, so they've gone away from that previous one that the original Alley Viper had, which was really dope as well, to having this really just a massive Cobra logo. I mean, they're all about branding Cobra.
Guys, we're under attack! By who? I don't know!
Cobra!
Oh, it's Cobra.
Oh, of course. Look, they have the pictures of the snakes on their planes.
Duke, what have I been saying for years? What makes a good terrorist organization?
Brand recognition.
Brand recognition.
I mean, we've also got, talking about fashion, we've also got a couple of other changes. I mentioned the Night Creeper leader.
Yeah.
Who has got a completely new redone outfit. Thoughts on that?
So Night Creeper leader, I love it as a figure. I think it's a really cool idea. And also, I think it's a really cool design because obviously he's blindfolded, so he's like constantly fighting blind, which I think is just that classic G.I. Joe. They're going for the ninja tropes in every possible way they can. And with this guy, it's like blindfolded, but he's still like this ninja master that doesn't need to see anything to be able to be like really, really good. But I think in this particular issue, he's defeated, so he's like in and out of it like that, and it's such a wasted spot.
It just looks stupid to me. He's got a couple of braces for no reason that he doesn't wear on his shoulders. He's got some sort of weird harness top thing on. I'm just not a fan of that design, to be honest. Some sort of Tiger Force pants.
Fair enough. But I think it's amazing.
His ass whooped. Yes, the bigger one, I guess the biggest one, is Zartan.
Now this is dope. This is so amazing. Like, I love it. Mohawk, friggin', it's just awesome. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because we might be talking about it later.
Yeah, that's fine. I was on the fence originally, and I think I do like it.
He's
perfect
for Halloween. Look at him.
Yeah, it is. He's very Halloween. There's a bit here I've written down of dislike. I've only got a couple of dislikes on my bit of paper. One of them is the art on issue 141, and the other one is Destro being dumb.
Yeah.
And this is Destro and Baroness, where the guy gets off the plane at Cobra Island. Destro and Baroness are at Cobra Island. They get off the plane and they're greeted by Cobra Commander, who then does a transformation into the new look Zartan with all his bells and whistles of all his holographic and light show. And they say, I still don't recognise this lout. Why is he acting as if we know him? Don't look at me, Destro. I've never seen him before. It's obviously Zartan, you numbskulls.
Yeah, that's really stupid, yeah.
Destro being dumb is not on my top list. So,
but also, like, you know, he's still got the eye makeup and it's a different colour, but, like, he would look the same. Like, his face is the same. So I don't, it seems weird, that, but yeah.
Other things I like going on here, we get a lot of old Joe action.
Yes,
so we get
airtight,
tunnel rat,
mainframe, tunnel rat, dial tone, yes, big time.
Rock and roll. So Chuckles pops up in one panel.
Mother Chuckles, dropping the Night Force off, yeah.
Yeah, we get old school Road Pig, which I prefer to the new Road Pig.
All right, chill out.
Okay, just saying.
Eels version 2, eels up inside you, finding an entrance where they can.
Eels up inside ya, finding an entrance where they can. Eels up inside ya, finding an entrance where they can. Bore through your mind, through your tummy, through your anus.
Roadblock's in his new garb as well. I mentioned that in the last episode we did, where he's kind of rocking his Battlecore togs.
Yes.
But then when we scoot through, we see him again, and he's being coloured in the... I mean, isn't that the really art where they're being attacked by bats in the sewer, and it's the Terminator bats, which again look really rubbish this way. And there's one panel of Roadblock who just looks... He looks like he's been... Oh, hang on, sorry. Alexa just jumped in. What? I didn't say your name. But then, like, it looks like someone sat on him again and squidged him, like he's made of plasticine or something. It just and he's coloured in his like old school colours with like the the green and the red on the shoulder and all that stuff.
We also mentioned that Mindbender's back on the scene. As it turns out, he was last seen buried alive in the tanker on Cobra Island. And his personality and basically his being had been encoded onto a disc which Cobra Commander had, and he's now cloned him a new body, and he's accidentally been spilled out from the tank he was in.
So they drop him, he smashes onto the ground. This is in between, like, I think where the Autobots are kind of like turning up and all kicking off. And he's kind of on the floor, like spilled water all over the place. One of the residents the reason this happened is because one of the residents starts coming to and starts kicking off and saying, I don't want to be brainwashed, and they try and get the mobile scanner on his head to sort him out, but he fights them off, and the confusion like knocks Mindbender and smashes him all over the floor. And then someone, I forget what happens, but something drops that's like electrified on the floor and revives Mindbender in the kind of confusion. So I did find that a little bit silly.
Yeah. I mean, there's a cool line here when they're talking about Mindbender and Zartan, Destro and Baroness. And Zartan says, they've got Mindbender in a tank, whatever. And Destro says, Dr. Mindbender was a warp genius. He could have used his cloning process to bring Newton, Da Vinci or Einstein back to life. And Baroness says, not to mention Elvis. Brilliant.
I find that Cobra Commander like cranks it up to 1,000 on the dialogue box.
Oh, mate, I've written down some stuff here. He says something about I can't even read my own writing.
Well, I can't read. Page now. I can't read some of the words that are on there. I'm kind of like, that isn't a word. Larry's made that up, or he's just too intelligent for my liking. Yeah, some of the things he calls Zorana during the fight with Scarlet at the end as well, I was kind of like, jeez, man.
He says, shoot her, you oligophrenic megapod.
Incredible.
Does that mean anything? I don't know.
The only time I've seen that written anywhere was in the Natural History Museum and next to one of the dinosaur exhibits. Something that did bug me, going from issue 140 to 141, it ends with, it sort of ends with Cobra and Megatron having this tete-a-tete where he's saying, you really need to kind of transform into your tank mode because you're kind of going to give away the fact that you're a giant robot in the middle of this town.
Oh, that's actually another fashion change, isn't it, Megatron?
Megatron, yeah, totally. Megatron, that is a very good point in his G2 garb, which I really like, by the way. I love that colour scheme. I think it's mental. You'll probably find that I do like a lot of the neon stuff. And then going into issue 141, he's like, you can see him wobbling, so it's almost like he's transformed back, but the conversation has changed and he's like, I don't care, I'm not changing for you or whatever. So it kind of like it just seems like really unnecessary that has to happen.
Yeah,
you know, why does that have to happen? Like, if it doesn't matter that in the story that Megatron's gonna give away their position because the Autobots turn up anyway. Like, it doesn't need to be said. It's such a pointless thing. So I think, like, why would they even do that from the end of issue 40 to 40 going into 41? Why would it even exist? It seemed weird and unnecessary.
The thing that sparks Mindbender back into life is one of the Millville residents who has brainwashing has lapsed and come undone, and he takes this portable brainwave scanner helmet and smashes it into the ground, which sparks the...
That was it. Yeah, that was it. That was
juices.
It. Correct.
My favourite line of dialogue here, I think, is they're in Millville, and actually I'll come on to that Millville discussion after this. He says, they're talking about the population, and Cobra Commander says, spare me the coffin-isms,
that's
Dr. Biggles-Jones.
That's a good one.
They have been liberated from their irrational animal behaviour patterns. There is no crime here, no stress, no rap music. Brilliant. Brilliant. Eliminate that rap music, goddammit.
Yeah, get that crap Diagnostic 80 rap music out of the way.
That's it. But Millville, so just explain this to me, because Millville, he took over that town around issue 100, and Spirit and Mutt, when we see them, they're still in Millville. Are they still doing recon? Because they knew it was a Cobra takeover.
They're all doing.
Why has G.I. Joe?
They're all doing.
They're 40 issues not come in and storm the town.
They're doing it on purpose. They're waiting. They're waiting for Cobra to make a move. He even says it in that panel. He says that it was, it paid off doing this long stakeout effectively.
This bit here, a lot of it gave me a little bit of vibe of the War in Benzene, where you've got the Recon Patrol, like the Strike Force, all these little pockets of teams going out. And it's kind of a similar vibe here. You've got another Recon team and then the Ninja Force covertly going in. It just had a good kind of, just reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
It's non-stop. I love this bit of Mindbender in the bath. This is another cracking bit of dialogue. He's in a bath. Might as well catch up on what's transpired in the world while I've been dead. Quite an inconvenience, this having to pack myself in ice until my metabolism stabilises. He turns on the TV. What? A Democrat in the White House? Cheers got cancelled. And what happened to Michael Jackson's face? The world is more unhinged than ever.
Oh, the things he doesn't know yet. But
Amazing.
Yeah, and we also get Night Creepers turn up again. That's always nice, and they look cool, which we did mention when we talked about the Night Creeper leader. But I love that design. And also we get that Rhino, which is now, that's what they're calling it now, the Rhino GPV or APV, which is like that little Jeep that that they turn up in. There's also there's an image at one point way back earlier in the issues where Dr. Bigglesworth Jones, as you like to call her, Sydney Bigglesworth But anyway, basically she is talking to a bunch, I think, Techno Vipers, and they're on a vehicle. And the vehicle, I was looking at it and kind of thinking, what on earth is that? And I had a quick search because I couldn't quite work out what it was. Because at first I looked at it and thought, is that Roller? Are they sitting on Roller? And he's like kind of hiding, like, pretending to be, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a detonator, I think. It's the only one I could really pin on it is a Cobra detonator. And, with obviously a modified weapon on it, which is her railgun. And then obviously we do see detonators later on in the issues. So I was kind of like, okay, it must be a detonator then. But again, if anyone knows what that particular vehicle is, that where it's I think I'll say the issue as well, so but it's issue 139, and she's basically talking to two Techno Vipers who are in this weird vehicle, and she's basically talking about the railgun. So yeah,
explain this bit to me. Just after the page after the Joes are fighting the eels and those Terminator bats in the sewer, there's a panel looking from the window in, and it's Bigglesworth talking to Scarlet. And she says, and that's the whole truth. And Scarlet says, incredible, then you're really... ... and Megatron snatches her. What's the big reveal there?
It must continue because into Transformers.
She ends up going off with Megatron into space at the end of this. And then there's, like we mentioned previously, there's that 12-issue Transformers Generation 2 arc or story, which Simon Furman wrote. I wonder, and I've got that, but I haven't read it in ages. Does she appear in that? And is it revealed what secret she told Scarlet, do you think? It was just interesting that there was clearly Harmer, or in conjunction with Simon Furman had clearly planted that seed of something. But anyway, there's a funny bit here where Snake Eyes is fighting the Night Creeper leader, and he takes all his weapons off. He goes into the mindset, and your man says, no, is this submission? Is this acceptance or defeat? No, it's a secret form. A form so arcane and shrouded in mystery that most practitioners regard it as a rumour, a chimera. Could it be this silent ninja is privy to the secret of the ARAH mindset? Or is this a bluff? And you can see sweat pouring out of underneath his bandana. And then as it turns out, it was just like a simple trap. And the Night Creeper leader, as you mentioned, goes down fairly easily.
I'm just reading on about her, and I can't see anything. Unless she was talking about the fact that she to Scarlet that she put the virus in the because she puts a virus in Megatron's in the railgun. So that Megatron will, get screwed up or whatever. But he knows that it happens at the end of the issue. He basically Biggles Jones. This is the kind of culmination of what happens in the firefight in the battle. She realizes, or she sees one of the Autobots, basically a robot being really brave, sacrificing his life for the cause. So she says, well, I can be brave too. So I'm gonna, basically just give myself up to Megatron and kill this fight before it even happens, and they fly away and so on and so forth. Yeah. So they're all like, it basically that kills everything, that ends everything, and and everyone, it's the classic, one panel and done kind of scenario. Everyone's looking in the distance, kind of like, oh, that was easy. Poor Sidney Biggles Jones or whatever. And as they're flying away, Megatron does say to her, "I did know that you put a virus in the railgun, and I already did." Well, he doesn't say it to her; she's unconscious at the time, but he's kind of thinking to himself, "Oh, this is really, I'm going to keep her. I'm not going to cut her open and just take her brain. I'm going to keep her and use her for my own nefarious purposes because she's obviously a genius." Yada yada yada, and so maybe that's what she was telling Scarlet. She was probably telling her that she had implanted a virus. She was also a spy, etc., etc. That's probably what she was telling her, and that's what the reveal was at the end. That he'd noticed that she'd put a virus in. He dealt with it. And so on and so forth. Yeah. I
have spotted something in here, and we are going to have to do it because I quite like the jingle. That means it's Comic Ad Talk.
Comic Talk. Oh, Comic Talk.
Stop. Rewind, selector. It's Comic Talk, but not as you know it. I'm asking Chris questions. Let's hope we don't blow it. I found some ads in this comic I'm reading. Chris's brain is working overtime. I think I hear it bleeding. NFL and NBA trading cards. He's digging up answers like bodies in graveyards, cereal, candy, and video games. His knowledge is good. Is it as good as he claims? Can he name the X-Men or even the Avengers? Landing answers like, right, we might need some dentures. If you don't like this segment, you best take a walk because it's Comic Ad Talk within Comic Talk. You've got a choice this week. You can either have basketball cards, Fleer basketball cards. I got pictures of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're quite tricky ones. Or you can have the Marvel Ballpen Bulletins, Marvel Comics on sale this week.
Oh, sugar plum fairies.
Or do you want half and half?
Just do both. Go for it.
All right. So let's do the Marvel Comics first. On sale this week in Marvel history. Then this is from the September issue, September 1993. I'll give you the first letter. And it's a C.
Ooh, I really want to say a C. What, Cable?
No, it is not a superhero title.
Oh, sorry, did you say that?
No, I'm just telling you now.
No, sorry.
It is Conan, issue 273. It's payback time for Conan the Punisher.
Hang on. Want a librarian?
Yeah. I've got one here, which is a D.
Yeah. Daredevil?
No, this is a mini-series way before this character got an ongoing series.
Deadpool.
Correct. Deadpool, issue 3 or 4. The executive elite takes a meeting. I wonder how important that meeting was. I have got a E.
Eels up inside ya. I'm going to say Exiles? No, that's probably later.
No, isn't it? Yeah. You're on the right lines. Keep them first two letters.
Yeah. E-X.
I think maybe a team based in the UK.
Excalibur.
Excalibur, issue 70. Jamming with the Star Jammers.
Ooh, we're jamming.
I wanna jam it with you.
I have got a M.
Magneto?
No, this is a tough one. It's themed for this particular episode, though.
Oh, monster something.
No, it is the name of a character who was part of the Midnight Suns group. The Midnight Suns were Ghost Rider, Blade, some other guys, can't think. And this guy, he is the living vampire. You know what his name is? Begins with M. Might not know.
Mephisto?
No. Morbius,
I did know that.
Morbius 14, Martine, Despair, and Werewolf by Night.
Damn it.
So I guess they're guest starring. And I've got one more, which is S, or SM.
SM.
Probably the world's most famous superhero.
Oh, Superman. Okay, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 39, Electro.
I would say Superman is probably the world's most famous.
No, incorrect. Spider-Man 39, Electro goes on a shocking spree.
I forgot we were in Marvel as well for a second.
Okay, yeah. Right, so now we're here. We've got Flair. This is Flair Cards 1993. It's NBA. So, where do we start here? I've got one card which says NBA Internationals.
Vlade Divac.
No, good shout, but no.
Manute Bol.
No, he played for the Indiana Pacers.
Oh.
He was...
Oh. It's magic. No, what's it going to be? Pacers. Is it one of the Eastern European guys?
He's German.
Oh,
Well, I think he's German.
yeah, Detlef Schrempf.
Ding!
He played for the Sonics as well, didn't he? That's why I thought of him and I thought, no, he's a Sonics guy, but I didn't realise he played for the Pacers.
I've got a rookie sensation card. This is New York. I
Starks.
I don't remember this guy, so I can't really help you there.
Rookie New York. No.
First name begins with an H.
No, don't just tell me.
It's Hubert Davis.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that.
No. Then here we have a All-Star, NBA All-Star. He was an All-Star for the East. He was a shooting guard. He won a NBA title, I think, in 91 or 90.
Jordan.
A rival team to the Bulls.
So the Knicks.
No.
The Pistons.
Yes.
Isaiah Thomas. No, shooting guard.
Played with Isaiah.
Dumas.
Yes, Joe Dumas.
Joe Dumas.
Ding.
Man, I'm stretching for my Pistons knowledge then.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. So there's a special pack, a 12-card pack of just this guy, a 12-card set. He's the star of this particular series. He played in the West. He was a guard. He was kind of a shooting guard, but he played a little bit of point guard as well.
Reggie?
Perennial All-Star. Perennial All-Star. He went to the finals, I want to say, and lost to the Bulls.
Okay, so are we talking the Sonics?
He's kind of balding, bit thin on top.
Clyde Drexler?
Yes, Clyde the Glide Drexler. Well done, sir. Okay, moving up the top here.
You thought I'd struggle with this one, which I have.
I got two. Well, I've got two. One is gettable. I'll go with the non-gettable one first.
Okay.
Well, he might be gettable. He's listed as a guard/forward. Played for the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay. Not Dominique.
His first name is also a girl's name.
Tracy?
Close.
Stacey Augman.
Stacey Augman. Well done, sir.
My knowledge of female-named male basketball players is actually quite high. Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it stops. This guy is... we've had him before. Not that helps on a past episode, because we've had a lot of guys. He is a point guard. He led the league in assists many seasons in a row.
John Stockton.
Boom, done. That's it.
We who wear short shorts.
And I think that's the end of the comic talk anyway.
Can I just say that was the best NBA one we've ever done, and that was the one you thought was going to be the hardest.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Probably all in my clue giving, I reckon.
Well, it was.
So
I can't just say random names, can I? Until I get them all, because that wouldn't make any sense.
I'm just flicking forward, flicking, easy for me to say.
Flicking forward, got it.
Yeah, flicking forward to a future issue to see if there's any letters, Postbox at a Pit, about these issues you just read. Found one. I haven't read it, so I'm just going to read it out now for the first time. I don't know what it's going to say. Dear Grand Masters, I've got to hand it to you guys. G.I. Joe 141 was the best issue in a while. I really like the Night Creeper leader. He's cool, and I'd like to see more of him. I thought about Megatron turning on Cobra Commander was an important contribution to the issue. I always liked the Transformers as a kid, and I'm glad to see them return. I can't say the same for that goon Mindbender. Ross Neatherton, 328 Lawsbrook Road, Concord, MA 01742.
Dr. Goonbender is what I'm going to call him from now on.
And the reply is, let's hope Cobra Commander learned a valuable lesson in loyalty, Ross. Maybe he'll think twice next time before backstabbing someone. Anyway, Joes, that's all the room we have for this month, and we'll meet you in the pit next month.
Cool.
There you go.
Cool.
What is your yo-joage on this, sir?
I would say it starts really strong. I wouldn't even say it finishes poorly. I think it finishes poorly art-wise, but the story's nice. It's fun. It doesn't, it's what you want a kind of crossover Transformers and G.I. Joe to be. I think if the art matched all the way through going into the last few issues, imagine what those Transformers would have looked like. That'd have been amazing. Yeah. As it is, we get these very old-fashioned, like, block Transformers that have very little personality to them. We have some very poor, like, character art from the human side of things, very rushed. There's one that, again, I've put Roadblock in there again. There's one point where his face looks like it's been mushed, and it looks really weird. Other than that, I'd have to say it's got to be quite high for me. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna say mid-8.
Mid-8. Yep, fine. I think I'm gonna go with a high 7. Really enjoyed it. Even like you said, even with the few down points, most notably the art. I think it was
the
high
art for
pace.
me. It kills it during the battles with the Ninja Force, because when the Night Creepers turn up and the Night Creeper leader turns up, my God, that takes a lot away from that particular part of the story, doesn't it? Because you need really dynamic, really good, really eye-catching art for those particular fights, where we've seen in the past, like, Andrew Wildman doing a really good job, and Batista, who does an amazing job in the WWE and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and now as a comic artist.
Yeah, exactly. Multi-talented.
I feel like if we'd have had an art, like a not a rush job on that, it would have been really high for me.
Yep, same. I'm going with a high 7, all round good stuff. So next week, I think we are doing, let me consult my sheet of magic. I think it's 143, 144, 145. So do your homework, get reading those issues, so you know what we're talking about. And we're going to stay on G.I. Joe because it's time for some toy talk.
Chris talks about toys, ho ho. Chris talks about G.I. Joe. He talks about all the things from the comic book and the animated show. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys. Chris talks about toys.
Hi guys, I might have given this away massively earlier in the episode, and yes, it is Zartan version 2 that I'm delving into, the 1993 Ninja Force Master of Disguise.
Ninja Force! The Joes lose again, Scarlet!
You're the one that just rolled Snake Eyes!
It's the G.I. Joe Ninja Force with real ninja moves. Here's Snake Eyes on the Ninja Lightning with thunder missiles and zip strip speed. And now Joe and Cobra Ninja Raiders Ginsu and Red Ninja spring into action in their own fast attack vehicles with a Ninja Surprise. G.I. Joe Ninja Lightning and Ninja figures sold separately. Ninja Raiders come with exclusive figures available in May.
Oh, we need that gold to build our ultimate weapon!
And you have to say he's doing well in his disguise this time, because it is really different. They went a different direction with this Zartan, and I couldn't be happier with it. So they kept a lot of elements that were the biker gang influence for Zartan in this particular design, and they threw in obviously a few neon colours to obviously match with the 90s era that Joe was going through at that time. And also the influence of the Ninja Force is in there with the weapons, with some elements in his kind of clothing as well. So kind of just describing the character makes me laugh. So now he has an orange mohawk. It's like this coral orange colour, which is just so beautiful. I love it. And the black eye makeup that he usually has. So his whole head is exposed, where we've known Zartan to have the hood up pretty much all the time, only showing the front part of his face. You don't really know what the makeup is doing on his eyes, and it's almost like they've pulled the hood off, and this is what he actually looks like underneath. And again, they've gone with that coral orange eye makeup to replace the dark eye makeup he had before that kind of covers his cheeks and goes all the way down to his chin. And actually the lines go all the way to the top of his head as well. It's a really cool design. I think it's beautiful. He has a black sleeveless motorcycle jacket on, which is brilliant, with this kind of like orange chain link type effect on one side. He has an arm strap and one glove on his right arm, and there's a reason for that. And nothing on the other's completely naked left arm. He's got bright green, neon green trousers with a purple belt. He's got on his left thigh 2 front-sided knife holsters that go horizontal, which is bonkers when you put the weapons in there. And he's got these purple shin guards and black boots. So he's out there, you know, he's really out there. In terms of weapons, he comes with a lot of repainted, this orange coral Storm Shadow compound bow, which was seen in version 2 of the Storm Shadow figure. That is now coral orange and given to Zartan, and that's why he has that strap on his arm, because obviously as a bowman you want to be protecting your wrist. It should be on the interior, but it's on the exterior. Doesn't matter. It's a cool design. He's got an orange sword. I forget who that came with initially. He's got Spearhead's machete, which is probably more suited to Ninja Force Zartan. The sickle, which again, I can't remember who it came with. I'll remember after this. 2 knives that slot into his thigh holsters and coral orange figure stand. The card art is, so again, is up there with some of the best card art I've ever seen produced for G.I. Joe. He is full of personality. He looks hideous, much like Road Pig looked like on his Sonic Fighters card art. That kind of, they've really accentuated the kind of features, made him look really nasty and despicable. Zartan's got this kind of like, he's got this vibe of the dude from Highlander, Kurgan.
Nice to see you, Kurgan. Who cuts your hair?
I am in disguise.
From Highlander, the bad guy. Do you remember that? Yep. Yeah. So he's got that kind of vibe about his face. He's quite a big build guy on the actual card art, but he's doing this jump where he's bringing his left knee up. He's using the compound bow, so he's in the compound bow thing. He's looking, you know, like at you, but also down the bow kind of thing. It's really, really cool and amazing. Now, one thing I have to mention on, you know, with the big Ninja Force logos as well, it's great. But one thing I have to mention is these Ninja Force figures, and I have mentioned this in the past with the Night Creeper figure, and I think the Snake Eyes figure, they had limited articulation based on a gimmick that were introduced into these figures. And Zartan has basically a similar limited articulation. His legs and his arms are cool, so at least he's got that movement. But around where the waist again meets the torso, the upper torso, the body meets the waist, it's almost like a He-Man kind of spin. You remember the old kind of He-Man spins at the waist?
Yeah.
So this is called, I believe, the Moroto chop. So it allows him to kind of, you know, do that spin kind of thing. Now, the other interesting thing as well, which, you know, I mentioned he's got the strap on his arm because he's got a bow. He's actually on the card art, you know, he's using the bow with his other hand, so the wrist protector is completely useless anyway. So it's on the wrong hand. But that's just a minor kind of jokey kind of detail I wanted to point out. But again, the card art's gorgeous. I will be posting these images so you'll get to see if you haven't already. And I know you have seen these already. You know, you're a G.I. Joe fan. It's only Chief that for some reason never realised there were toys made of these things. No, ever.
I didn't know that there was a toy of this Zartan figure until you told me there was about half an hour ago.
Incredible.
Although I guess I should have known, because nothing was probably going to make it into the comic unless it was a toy.
Apart from Mediviper.
Yeah. So there you go. So I thought maybe that was just Larry messing around.
You're right to think that, you know, if you don't know, you're right to assume that there will be toys of them, and you're just as right to assume there might not be toys of them. But in this case, there is one. So I said 93 was the US release. We didn't get this in the UK. How sad is that? I only saw this on the back of a card in the US buying another Ninja Force character and wanted it so bad. Because obviously it's got Zartan written on it, and he looks so different, but he looks awesome. And all of a sudden, you just kind of going, oh my god, there's a new version of Zartan, I need it. I f***ing need it. And this was the first version of Zartan since the first one in like 85 or whenever it was. 84, sorry. So, we've gone 9 years without an upgrade to Zartan to this point. So, and I suppose you could argue that you could grab a Chuckles figure and that's Zartan. You could grab the Lady J figure and that's Zartan. But in terms of real version of the character, we hadn't had one for that long. Now, I'll quickly read through the file card from the US, the only version I'm aware of. File name unknown. Birthplace unknown. Primary specialty Master of Disguise. Motto: my personality changes as often as my looks, and they're both bad. Zartan can alter his skin colour at will to blend in with his environment. He is a master of makeup and disguise, a ventriloquist, a linguist. He speaks over 20 languages and dialects, an acrobat, contortionist, and a practitioner of numerous mystical martial arts. Little is known about his background, but captured Cobra documents revealed reports listing him to be as lethal as a two-headed rattler disguised as a garter snake. You don't want to be wrapping that around your leg, do you? He changes appearances and personalities so often that even he can't keep track of them. And then obviously they have a key of all of his weapons and things on him that relate to a key on that card art as well, on the file card art as well. Now, this particular version of Zartan, there's a commercial for it, which obviously I've already played in the background. I say commercial for him; it's a commercial for the Ninja Force figures. And there's there's a pin-up that they did of this version. With his old version kind of in the top in the background, which is quite cute as well. It was Randy Emberlin did that, sorry. So I'll send that up as well to show you. But other than that, it didn't really get much love anywhere else. So you don't really get this in a lot of the media other than the comics. And I absolutely adore it. I think it's brilliant. And it was one of those, I wish I could have had it as a kid, but obviously had to wait till I was a little bit older, a lot older in actual fact, before I picked this up. But yeah, an absolute gem of a figure. And again, this is one of those things where people are a bit split with G.I. Joe. A lot of people prefer the kind of military realism, which, let's face it, hasn't been military real since 84 or whatever. But whatever, it's been longer in this sci-fi, crazy, mystical era than it has in that initial few figures that had the kind of monochrome paint schemes and everything. Joe has really kind of morphed into a very crazy designed but also quite incredibly designed run of action figures. But anyway, I love him. I don't care what you say. Zartan is awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. I think he's growing on me. Like a
mould.
I don't know. Yes, yeah, like a mould. No, he's good. There'll be more toy talk next week, unless Chris somehow forgets all about the toys, which is unlikely. But that's good because it's educating me, the chief. And now we're going to talk about British colloquialisms, a.k.a. over-egging that hot pudding.
We got a pudding, we're going to egg it. We got a pudding, we're going to over-egg it. We got a pudding, we got no criticisms. That means it's time for some British colloquialisms.
Over-smegging the pudding.
I have a kind of Halloween-y kind of one.
Yes.
Halloween, sometimes you will dress up and you might go to a party, and in the UK we would call that fancy dress.
Brilliant.
Which I believe a fancy dress party, probably in the States, would be called a costume party, I'm guessing. Don't know.
Yeah.
But fancy dress. Now, that sounds, I'm going to get fancy. Oh, it's all fancy. I'm going to get dressed up real fancy. But it just means dressing up in a costume rather than regular clothes.
My one...
Yep. It's not Halloween based.
I kind of wanted to do it because it's Joe based and it's Halloween based, but I want to do another one that isn't Halloween based. I'm going to save that till next week. This one is, and again, this probably isn't just a British colloquialism. This is probably used throughout the world now, or it probably is at least known to the Americans quite, and is probably used very often. And that is blind as a battle android trooper, or blind as a bat. I was just trying to be intelligent, but blind as a bat.
I didn't get it for about 5 seconds.
Obviously, not able to see well, even though bats aren't blind, and they're actually they use echolocation. Do they use?
Yes.
Even then, they're not actually blind. They're also not blind either. That's just a
preconception.
Yeah. In any case, blind as a bat for the obvious reasons that It's bats, which are also Halloween related, and bats, which are also G.I. Joe related. You're welcome.
Yes, well done. Love it, as always. I think that's possibly one of my favourite segments. In fact, I like them all. And there'll be more of those. We already know Chris has got one lined up the chute, ready to fire off next week. So I need to get myself hold of one.
Up the flu chute.
Yeah, up the flu chute. And there'll be more of that next week. But we do need to do something, which is Chief Ask Chris a question. Chief Ask Chris a question. What'll he say? What'll he do? When Chief Ask Chris a spooky question. So there have been a fair few monsters just about roaming around outside my house. No, monsters in the movies. Now, of the classics, what would you say was your favourite, and what would you say was the most scary? You know, I'm looking at things like vampires, Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon, etc. That kind of.
Well, I'm going to have to go with, and this really relates to, you know, when you're kind of young and you see a film and it scares the living piss weasels out of you. I'm sure you've had piss weasels scared out of you.
Oh, yeah, piss weasels all the time.
Yeah, loads of piss weasels.
Going to the doctors about that.
Basically, it is and this will give away the monster, obviously, because it's in the title, and that is An American Werewolf in London. I remember watching that movie as a kid and shitting myself, where especially the transformation scene, which I still think stands up today as one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in a film. And obviously with the fact that it's so, I don't know, violent, the kind of like, it's not, you know, you see a lot of these things that would be quick change, like Michael Jackson in Thriller. You know, like the way he kind of changed was cool, but it was a lot quicker. And obviously, they had to get it done quick for the music video, what have you. Or even though they did that extended movie version of Thriller, you know, that change isn't as grotesque, isn't as nasty. It is also one of the reasons I'm terrified as well of werewolves, because that scene is amazing too. But the one in American Werewolf in London where he transforms, it is just so visceral, so horrible, bones cracking, you hear the hair growing and the nails coming, and it's just amazing. So I have to go with the werewolves on that one for me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a fair shout. I'm just sending you now a picture in the chat. This is a commission I had done. I used to get a 3x3 grid of kind of sketch card sized images on a theme, and this one I posted up on the Twitter. I did movie monsters, so it's a movie monster holding up a police mugshot board as if they're, you know, just gone to
it's really
jail,
cool. I love it,
and they're getting done over. So I get 9, you know, it's 9 different artists, each one picks a different movie monster. So I'll post that up because it's Halloween related as well, which is good. I've got loads of these, so
that one looks like Old Snake, but top middle right to the right, in the middle. He kind of has that Old Snake vibe, which was when Cobra Commander would dress up, with the hat on and the shades and everything. But he would appear in like the Transformers cartoon, and he would appear in. I think he was in another cartoon that was really. That's
the Invisible Man, by the way, for those who can't see into air or whatever.
Well, you did say you're going to post it.
Yeah, I did say I'm going to post it. Yeah, I am going to. So yeah.
So they'll see it.
I also want to give a couple of shout outs. We had a couple of mails. Scott Romanowski sent us a mail. Thank you for your comments, sir. And we had a real nice one from Sam Myers. Did you see that one?
Really nice from Sam. Yeah, in actual fact, can you read it out?
You want me to read it out?
Yeah, the whole thing in full, because it's worth listening to again.
All right.
Now, do it now.
All right.
Do it now. What are you waiting for? Kill me.
Talking Joe team, I just want to communicate how much more entertaining the show has become as you learn to complement each other, find a mutually reinforcing groove, and apparently become the sort of friends who text each other for nostalgic sartorial advice. I've communicated in the past my concern. My concern about the direction of the show once Ben departed, but I can safely say that at this point, every new episode is the best episode you've done. In fact, whenever we stop recording, I always say to you, I think we smashed it there, that's our best one.
Yeah, and I always say, no, it was shit. But no, I'm kidding. Well, there was when he says there, I was worried about where it was going to go, like almost as if he knew who I was and was like, oh, this is going to be shit. Like that's what I got from that message, but I'm very happy that he doesn't think that, and that's a lovely thing to say. And we've worked really hard on this. We joke about the kind of last minute stuff here and there and everywhere, but we have worked really hard on making sure this is a very good show, a very enjoyable show. So it's really nice that we're having fun. So we hope you guys have fun listening to it too.
Yeah. He goes on to mention that, obviously the Joe stuff is still central, but all the other segments, all the other segments have their place in it now. I think they've established, their place in the overall podcast. And,
tell that to the Seddons.
No, they love it.
I'm joking.
Actually, Mark sent a load of questions for the Andrew Wildman interview, which we incorporated into the interview. So thanks for that, Mark. But that was a nice one. And Sam even says at the end, set up a Patreon page and I'll contribute, which is ever so kind. I don't know if there was anything more we could offer, because obviously on Patreon normally, you've got a Patreon page on Full Force, haven't you?
Yeah.
And, I guess the idea is you offer contributors bonus content or ad-free episodes or stuff like that, but I'm not sure we're at that stage yet, but maybe one day
we could open it up so that it's just like if you feel like contributing, you can, it's like $1 or a pound or something like that. That's something that we could easily do, but at the same time I think it'd be better when we can crank out like tons of extra content. I mean, we do, just to give it an idea, we do on the Full Force, we do kind of outtake things from like episodes, little kind of bonus material like that. We do making of, which I'm in the process, for the patrons that are listening at the moment, I'm in the process of getting the last one done, but it's taking me ages because I have to record actual editing, which, if you can imagine, I always forget to do because I'm editing all the time, and it takes up so much processing power that it slows my editing down. So I'm going to have to do it very intricately to kind of get some recording done of that. But then we also do things like I give away music on the show, so I make music for all of the for the Full Force podcast, and it's always like brand related. So like Mask, we did a Mask episode, I did a ton of Mask sampled beats. Same for Transformers and Visionaries and so on and so forth. So my
worry is, don't give this man any more work to do.
Yes, that good. Yeah, because you're not going to be doing the bonus content.
Not doing, so I'm going to give another shout out. And that's to my co-host, Mr. What was it? Diagnostic
in the Hearty.
Diagnostic in the Hearty. Shout out to you, sir, because all I do is turn up once a week and just speak for like an hour 20, and then you have, people forget you've actually got a day job, and yet I'm doing jingles and you have to compose new stuff for that, and you're editing this on top of all the other podcasts you edit, and it always comes out sounding fantastic, and you're not getting paid for this. It's in between your day job, so tipping my hat to you, sir. Big thank you for carrying the load. Carrying my load.
Carrying your load on my back. Got it.
Yeah.
But no, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And at the same time, you're what's known as the talent. So,
I'm not sure about that.
I'm the workhorse, you're the talent. That's how it works, man. That's how it works. And to be honest, like, I really enjoy doing it as well. Like, oddly enough, going back over these recordings, I actually find very humorous, even though I'm having to cut like an absolute ninja sometimes. But even then, you're only talking about like, because one of the problems we have with this show is that Chief has to record at his end and then has to send me. Well, he doesn't have to send me because we're on the same TriCast thing, but then I would get his audio, even though I've recorded audio for him on this end. It's not as good as the audio at his end, if that makes sense. So I then have to put all of this stuff together, but I have to line it up. Sometimes, even though they're the same things happening at the same time, recording wise, they don't always line up exactly. I can be like, getting it right on point at one end, and you go all the way to the other end and it's out of sync. And I'm like, how does this happen? Like, it just makes no sense to me. So I have to kind of like, keep an eye on a muted track that has the same audio waves as the one below it. So as you can imagine, it's a bit of a pain in the butthole, but still, I enjoy it. It's fun. And this show has been it's been a cool outlet. I feel like it's been like something fun to do on the, that isn't what we do normally on the Full Force. We do Comic Burst, but in terms of the Marvel run and the way this show operates, it was a learning curve for me, because it was like coming in and going, right, how do I put my stamp on it? But at the same time, how do I keep the same people that have been enjoying this for a long period of time, still enjoying it? And
there's a lot of spontaneity here, and me giving you short notice. So it's not like, I can imagine Full Force, there's a bit more planning going on and a bit more structure and kind of programming notes, whereas here it's kind of fly by the seat of your pants a little bit.
And again, that's fun. I'm used to deadlines, so that's not a problem. But it's a fun way to work, because it gets it done quicker and it gets it done, and Sometimes I'm up a bit late, but whatever. It's just part and parcel. It's great. I enjoy it. So I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad people
I go to
it.
bed. I go to bed at like 10 p.m. and then when I wake up, there's some messages from Chris at like, I don't know, 7 a.m. my time, which would be like 1 a.m. for you, and you're like, yeah, I'm just finishing off the edit. It's like 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, well, I've been in bed since like 10 p.m. So I'm living the life of luxury.
You're working on your talent, though. That you're working on your talent.
Sleeping on the talent, yeah. But we've got many more episodes to come. We've got a handful left on this series, and I think possibly going to have some guest stars back for 2 of the remaining episodes of this run, hopefully.
Yes.
And then we'll be branching out into a special one-off kind of pod that you might also release as a YouTube episode, and then we'll be cranking into the comics that came after this Marvel run. So
yeah,
lots to look forward to in the world of Talking Joe. And with that in mind, if you want to hit us up, like the good folks Scott and Sam did, you can catch us on talkingjoecomics@gmail.com. You can find us at talking_joe on Twitter, Talking Joe Comics on Instagram, or Talking Joe at G.I. Joe Podcast on Facebook. We had another, apologies, I don't have your names to hand, we had another couple of people join the Facebook group this week, or would be your last week, because we're faking it. It's not really Halloween. We're recording a week in advance, the Halloween episode. Shh, don't tell anyone. So thanks to everyone who's
I should probably take this costume
joined.
off then, shouldn't I?
Yeah. I thought you were just in your pants.
Well, that's my costume, yes. Dr. Mindbender.
Right, okay. Oh dear, I don't want that image in my head, too late. But yeah, reach out, contact us, go on Apple, iTunes or whatever, give us 5 stars, say you love the show, helps us boost us up the rankings and all that jazz.
Or the w***kins, as I call them.
Yes, exactly. You can find me on Chiefy2Shoes on Twitter. Where can the good people find you, sir, all your fantastic work?
You can find me at Diet Knobsack 80 or... someone called me Diet Knobsack 80 once, and it's just stuck. I think that's the funniest nickname ever. Diagnostic 80 on Instagram and Twitter, or was it Diagnostic in the Hearty? I'm not changing it, don't worry. And obviously, if you want to follow the Full Force podcast, we are on Facebook and Twitter. We're also on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and of course, we have a Patreon page where we take in thousands and thousands of dollars a day just to make amazing content like news bursts and comic bursts and Disorder of Battles and FSS battles, and we don't even have a regular episode anymore because I put so much effort into the rest of it. So don't worry, the robotics episode will be coming soon, guys. I apologise. We just need to get it finished and edited. So yeah, there we go. Boom.
Good stuff. And with all that said and done, we will catch you down the road.
Bye. Chio.